So good morning to everyone joining this session on the new Georgia Encyclopedia. We have with us today Ed Hatfield, who is the managing editor at NGE. Before joining NGE, Ed was an instructor at Kennesaw State University and Emory University. And then we also have Stephanie Devine. She's an assistant editor at the New Georgia Encyclopedia. And before joining the team, she taught at Georgia State University. And so we are glad that they're both here to unveil the new website. I know that they have been working hard on it and are excited to share with everyone what they've been working on. Thank you guys, and I guess we can get started.
Okay, thanks so much, Joy, for that introduction. Hope everybody can hear me okay. My name is Edward Hatfield. We're delighted to be with you here this morning to talk about one of our favorite subjects, the New Georgia Encyclopedia. As many of you may know, the encyclopedia is currently undergoing a redesign, and we're excited to share an update on our progress and to talk a little bit more about some of the exciting developments that are in store for the NGE.
Hey, Ed, your sound is a little low.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, let me see if I can adjust that. I can always speak up. Thanks for the warning. Let me know if it continues to be a problem.
Okay, that sounds a little better.
Okay.
Hey, and good morning, folks. I am Stephanie Devine. For today's presentation, we're going to talk briefly about NGE's past, where we've been. Next, you'll get a chance to see where we are today with a preview of the redesign. Then we'll wrap up by talking a little bit about where NGE is headed and our plans for the near future. So thanks again for joining us this morning. I'm sorry, I thought that was Ed, that was me. Okay, so to begin with a brief overview of the program, we're guessing that most of you are here today because you love the New Georgia Encyclopedia and you can't wait a second longer to see the new site. But for anyone who is new to NGE or just needs a quick refresher, the encyclopedia is a free online reference text that contains more than 2,400 articles and over 7,000 images covering all things Georgia. History, literature, art, sports, government, nature, music, and more. The NGE is a program of Georgia Humanities in partnership with the University of Georgia Press, GALILEO, and the University of Georgia Libraries. We also have a fifth and silent partner in the Office of the Governor who provided initial seed funding for the project.
So today it may seem self-evident that an encyclopedia should be published online and made freely available to the public. But back in the early 2000s, when the project was first launched, it was still a pretty novel idea to suggest that the entire contents of an encyclopedia would be placed online and made available at the click of a button. Terms like born digital and open access didn't yet exist, and we expected legitimate scholarship to be found in bound volumes at university libraries. As it happens, that was the plan for the NGE2. The project was initially conceived in the late 1990s as a traditional print publication. Later, it was suggested that the volume should include a CD-ROM, and finally, it was proposed as a strictly online venture. Now, we have it on good authority that not everyone at the time thought this was a very good idea, but fortunately, there were more than a few visionaries around the table, and the project partners decided to take a leap of faith.
So the first NGE launched in 2004 with 700 entries. It launched on an entirely custom-built XML-based platform, and NGE now has the distinction of being the nation's first born digital state encyclopedia. In other words, we were the first one to be designed exclusively for publication online.
Now, when the project's original development team announced that they would be closing up shop, the NGE's partners went looking for an open source solution, a platform with a larger community of developers that would provide the project with a more stable, long-term home. After a good deal of research, they settled on Drupal and engaged a local development firm to design a new site. That site, the one you see here, and the one with which you may already be familiar, launched in 2013. Now, the current Drupal-based site has served the project well, to be sure, but it has begun to show its age. In recent years, we've experienced a greater number of maintenance challenges, and we came to learn that certain aspects of the site fell short of Google's expectations. More ominous still, we learned that Drupal would no longer provide support for our version, Drupal 7, and that we would need to upgrade the project's platform. So about 2 years ago, we began thinking critically about the site's needs and the possibility of a redesign. One of our first steps was to take a fresh look at open source platforms and to consider whether we preferred to remain in the Drupal community or to move in a different direction. And after some back and forth, we settled on WordPress for a few reasons. One was safety in numbers. WordPress has a remarkably large market share, and we thought it would provide a larger community of support in the years ahead. Another was grad student labor. We hoped to welcome graduate research assistants to our editorial team in the years ahead and expected that they were more likely to be familiar with WordPress, which would mean less time spent training graduate students. And a third was flexibility. Our current site imposes a number of restrictions on admins, and our hope is that the more modular approach will provide us more freedom to modify the site with minimal assistance from developers. We then conducted interviews with peer projects, circulated user surveys, drafted an RFP, and vetted bids from half a dozen firms before selecting an Atlanta-based company, Army of Bees, as our new development partner. Our new developers began their work in earnest last fall by performing an SEO audit and conducting user interviews with members of our core constituencies. That includes journalists, educators, researchers, librarians, and students. And that feedback informed a lot of the design decisions that were made when building the new site. And so we're very excited to be with you today to finally share the fruits of that labor. But first, a quick caveat. The site you're about to see is still very much a beta version. There are a number of changes yet to be made, and we apologize in advance for any functionality issues that may occur. But without further ado, bear with me one moment, please. Okay. I hope that everybody can see my screen. Please let me know if that's not the case. What you're seeing here is the homepage of the new site. Our tour begins on the homepage, and regular visitors to the NGE should notice an immediate change here. Gone are the jumble of tiles, each one flush with the next, and in their place is a simpler, more refined design that places the search bar front and center. Above the search bar is a tagline, "Everything Georgia is here." Rest assured that that is very much a placeholder. We're actually still weighing our options there and haven't yet reached a decision as to its replacement. Suggestions are welcome, of course. The suggested terms you see beneath the search bar are intended to convey the breadth of coverage on offer at the Encyclopedia. And finally, you may recognize that the background image features the Swan House on the campus of the Atlanta History Center. That's subject to change prior to the launch as well, and we expect that background images will rotate on a regular, probably monthly basis once the site is live. Scrolling down just a little bit, you'll see that our quick facts and resources page is accessible via a narrow banner that sits just beneath the header. Now, if you visited our current site recently, you may recall that this page suffers from somewhat irregular formatting and that much of the information feels squeezed together as if pressed for space. The new site aims for a lighter presentation of the same material, giving it a little more room to breathe. Notice also the sticky net side nav to the left of the page, which allows for easy navigation between the sections. So you can move quickly between overview, population information, geography, or web resources. Now, if the top half of the homepage is something of a departure, the bottom half may feel a little bit more familiar. Here you'll find a selection of featured articles, exhibitions and content collections, and at the very bottom of the page are topic areas, which have remained unchanged since the project's inception nearly 2 decades ago. Notice also the banner inviting users to subscribe to our newsletter, another new feature, and one that we hope will allow us to better connect with regular users and supporters. That banner will likely change from month to month and can be used to promote any number of other projects, including our Spotify playlist, story maps, or partner activities. At the top of the page, you'll notice a nav bar that will appear on all pages throughout the encyclopedia. It's not that different from the one on our old site, only perhaps a little more tidy. As you can see, it allows users to browse by topic, by one of our new content collections, about which we'll hear a little bit more in just a bit, or by the state's educational standards, a feature that we hope will receive regular use by educators. And visitors to the site should enjoy a more dynamic search experience as well. This is an issue with which we've experienced a few technical difficulties lately, so bear with me to see if it works. And it looks like we're still sorting through some of those difficulties. But when the site launches, you'll notice that the search feature is more dynamic than our current search tool, that it suggests options even while typing, that it uses predictive search, and the preliminary results appear in a drop-down menu organized by content type, media resource, article, content collection, or exhibition. So let's take a quick look at some of our article pages. Bear with us for a moment. The site is thinking. Okay, so the great majority of our traffic comes from organic search. And most visitors to the site head straight to the articles, bypassing the homepage and other landing pages altogether. So we knew that the article pages were important to get right, and we're very pleased with how they turned out. There are a few new bells and whistles to draw attention to here. First, internal links now feature a hover over preview that includes a featured image and excerpted text. So for example, if I hover over the term capital here, hovered a little too heavy, bear with me. You'll see a quick little card that includes featured image at the top, excerpted text below. Users can also highlight sections of text to share via social media. So for example, if we wanted to share as part of a tweet or post of some kind, something on, for example, Atlanta's origins as a railroad terminus, we could highlight the first section of first sentence or two of this section, and we could then share a snippet. And here you'll find a neatly formatted quotation excerpted from the article and a link to the article itself. Users can also, if they're conducting research, copy that same information with the citation for any number of writing projects they may be undertaking at that moment. Now, if we scroll to the bottom of the page, we find a few new tweaks here as well. Bear with me. Citations. Users can now select from one of 3 different citation styles. As you can see here, MLA, APA, and Chicago. And though it now features online sources by default, our further reading section includes published works as well. It allows users to toggle from one to the next, depending on their preference. But the most significant changes to our article pages are those that concern images. Thousands of low-res images, many of which date from the project's earliest days, have been replaced or removed for the new site. Inline images, which used to appear only as thumbnails, are now rendered at larger sizes, as you can see here. And because they no longer require formatting prior to publication, they appear here entirely uncropped, often with notations, marginalia, or other imperfections that make them more interesting as artifacts. Now, when you select any one image, you're taken to a modal, and here we've surfaced more robust metadata than was made available on the old site, including a caption, credit, collection level information, and where possible, a unique identifier and a link to the images page on a new site. We've also added customized terms of use statements for all of our partners and a more general disclaimer for non-partner images so that users can more easily direct permissions inquiries to the proper authority. Note that the modal will allow users to move from one image to the next as well. And so that, in a nutshell, is the article page. And at this point, I'm going to cede controls of the presentation to Stephanie, who will continue the tour elsewhere on the site.
Great, thanks, Ed. If you guys will bear with me for just 1 second while I share my screen. Okay, great. Can you all see me here? Good. Okay, so now that you've gotten a chance to see our bread and butter NG's article content and media, I'm going to take you on a quick tour through some of our special featured content. So to begin with, if you've never seen our exhibitions, these are media-rich, long-form explorations of a specific topic. Many of our digital exhibits are actually adapted from physical exhibits prepared at UGA libraries. That's the case with what I'm going to pull up here on the stump. What does it take to get elected in Georgia? As you can see, like the articles, the exhibits have gotten a nice facelift. They start with this large header image taken from the exhibit and a brief description of the topic. As you scroll down, you'll see it looks much like the article with this side nav that lets you jump to explore different sections of the exhibition, which is really important here because these can be quite a bit longer than our entries. We also have the hover over link preview. As in the entries, we have the media that you can click to open in the modal and see caption, credit, and terms of use. And again, as with our article content, if you want to cite the exhibit, you can come down here and we have a variety of citation styles ready if you want to use the exhibit in your research. Jumping back up to the top on exhibits and article content, if you want to learn more about the authors who contributed, you can come up to the top and click on their name. That takes you to an author page where you can see their affiliation. Here we have Kaylin Washnock and what they've contributed to the NGE, so articles and exhibitions. I'm also really excited to talk to you today about our educator content. We're really excited about the changes made here. We have a much cleaner educator resources landing page. And the main feature of this page is a search by standards number. Now, this has been a feature of the old NGE, but it's a lot, we think, easier to find on the new site. So if you come here, you're a teacher or a parent looking for content about Georgia Studies, the 8th grade course, or Georgia My State 2nd grade course, you can plug in the standard number that you're looking for. And you see we're getting those suggestions popping up, and you can click that standard. It takes you to a standards page with the actual standard written out and the articles it's including. Also, you'll see suggested articles made by editors to supplement the curriculum. If you want to copy standard for your notes, you can click the copy button and paste it into your notes. And then down below, you'll see all of the entries that are associated with the topic. So Georgia's role in World War II. What we really like about these pages is that you can toggle to a media view. So you can also see all of the media associated with this topic. So if you're a teacher looking for a photograph for a discussion of primary sources, you can come up here, see what we have, and then click the photo to open the modal and get that caption and credit information. Second way you can access this standards content is through the Browse by Standards. So you can come to a course and see all of the standards in a course in one place and explore there. So we're really excited about how the new site is surfacing that content. Popping back to the educators page, I also wanted to show off that during our user interviews, we heard from teachers that they wanted different formats for the education content. They hated getting PDFs. They wanted to download a Word document or open it in Google Drive. So we've added that ability. And we also have links to education resources from other organizations around the state. Another new type of content that we're really excited to show off is the content collections. This is a new feature of the site. It's not really a part of the current site. These collections will allow us to bring together content from a variety of topic categories. You'll see we have a draft here for the city of Atlanta. So click on that page. It's very much just a draft. There'll be a short summary of what's in the collection. And then again, you'll see this view that you just saw on the standards page that includes all of the articles in the collection, as well as all of the media in the collection. This is great because it can, for the Atlanta page, we can have entries on history, on business, transportation, architecture, county info, sports, and bring them all together in one place. Whereas before you would have to jump around in our different topic categories to find that information. This part of the site is definitely, again, still under development, but we're looking forward to adding some interdisciplinary topics, such as Georgia women in the future. I also want to draw your attention specifically to the Georgia State Art Collection. So this one's going to look a little bit different because it is a media collection. If you're not familiar with it, this is on NGE currently, but it is really hard to surface and see in one place. It is a collection put together by Georgia Council for the Arts between the 1970s and 1990s, and it includes hundreds of pieces of art by the state's artists. Now, when you see it on the site, you can look at it all in one place. It has this really beautiful art book style presentation where you can see the image title, caption, credit, all in one place, and kind of can browse everything all at once. And then if you're interested in an image, you can click and again, open the modal to see it large size with more detailed information. Okay, so now I'm going to jump back to the home page and I'm going to jump down to the footer to talk about a few more types of special or featured content that we have linked down here. The first is quizzes. Now we actually don't have any quizzes loaded to show you. We will have a few when the site goes live later on this year. But this is another thing that our users asked for. We've been doing it on social media for a while, so we're going to make homes for them on the site. So you can come over here to take a quiz and test your Georgia knowledge. And once you're finished with the quiz, you can share your results on social media and brag your knowledge of Georgia trivia. So if you have any great ideas for quiz topics that you want to see, please let us know because we're just trying to have fun with the feature. Another type of special content we have linked down here that I'll give a quick shout out to is Georgia Exhibits, which is the site we build in partnership with Digital Library of Georgia. These exhibits specifically feature content that's collected in the DLG. There's 3, and we just launched the project about a month ago. So check those out if you haven't already. And then the last type of special content I'll talk about are our Spotify playlists. If you are not following us on Spotify or haven't listened along, please come check these out. We have 4 so far: classical music, holiday, country, and blues, and more to come in the future. These are all playlists featuring music that's either written and performed by Georgia artists. So we hope that you will check those out. And I think that is it for the tour. And I'm going to let Ed take back over.
Okay, Stephanie, I'm going to open up the rest of the slideshow. Did you want to finish the final few slides?
Yeah.
Can everybody see okay?
We can't see any slides, Ed.
Just bear with me one moment. So sorry.
We can see your slides now, Ed.
Okay. Take it away, Stephanie. Thanks, folks.
Great. Okay, so as you can see, there's lots of exciting developments on the new site, but a little more work for us to do to come before the site launches. To wrap up here, we just want to touch briefly on what's next for NGE once the site launches. Much of the last year has really been focused on this redesign and making sure we could sustain the site's platform and technology in the future. But we also have a lot of big plans for NGE's content. One of our content challenges at the Encyclopedia is just maintaining our existing articles and making sure that they remain accurate. So to that end, we'll be completing a sustainability review of our article content focused on how we can best approach keeping those entries up to date using the resources that we have on hand. At the same time, we also want to continue expanding the encyclopedia's coverage and to address any critical gaps in our coverage, making sure that NGE is always exploring the past from multiple perspectives and telling the stories of everyone who calls Georgia home. So to do that, we are soliciting section editors for the first time since the project's inception, really, to help us acquire and review articles in priority areas. Those areas include Georgia's LGBT history and culture, Latino history and culture, Asian American history and culture, and hip hop, as well as dozens of other topics that have been identified as priorities by our editorial staff, as well as by our readers who have submitted requests for topics. To help us meet these content goals, we'll also welcome 2 talented graduate research assistants in the fall to work on updates and adding new entries. These positions have been funded by UGA Libraries and Georgia Humanities. And we are also working to implement style guide changes to ensure that the language in the encyclopedia is inclusive. And actually, many of those updates will be complete when the new site launches.
Okay, and so that concludes our presentation. I'm guessing we have a good deal of time left for questions. We hope that you like the new site, and please let us know any questions you have.
So Ed and Stephanie, we have a few questions in the chat. I'll start by saying you got lots of compliments if you want to look through the chat. There's everybody's really impressed with the work you've done. But the first question we had was about the Spotify playlist. What kind of music can we expect? You answered that a little bit, but do you have plans for any future playlists?
Sure. So, the Spotify playlists are fun little projects that we take on as time allows. We don't have any immediate plans to add a 5th or 6th playlist, but we'd love to get to it when we can. First things first, I think we'd like to see the new site online and make a little progress towards the addition of the new content areas that Stephanie described just a moment ago. So yes, in the long term, absolutely. We really look forward to adding more podcast or playlists, but probably not in the coming months. And if folks have any requests for specific playlists they might like to see added, by all means, reach out and let us know. We'd love to cater to users' needs.
Great. We also got a question about the hover feature, which everyone seemed to like. And there was a question about whether that would work on mobile as well.
That should be the case. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. We don't have any more questions in the chat right now. We'll wait to see if anybody else has a question for you all. Oh, we got one right there. Let's see. Oh, it's a form to share your thoughts. Stephanie, so for everyone, there's a link to a form to share your thoughts on NGE.
Yeah, and just a quick word about the form. We're going to be undertaking beta testing in just a few weeks' time. We've got a few people in mind who would like to assist us with that, but if anybody on today's call would like to take part, please do follow the form, add your information, email, name, and we'd be happy to include you. We could use all the support that we can get. So thank you very much.
All right, so we got another question. When was the last redesign and how long did this one take you all?
Sure, great question. Last redesign was in 2013, and I'd say that probably we've been working on this one for at least the last 18 months, all things considered. I think probably from the moment that we began to recognize the need for redesign to the present has been about 2 years, and that included a lot of advanced research, interviews with peer publications, surveys of our users, and other outreach efforts to better ascertain exactly what our needs were at the present and what they might be in the future. So it's been a long haul, and we're really excited to see it come to fruition.
While we're waiting on a few more questions to pop up, I'll read a couple of the comments because everyone seemed to like a lot of these features. They love the standard search. And they said that these features will be great to show our patrons who do lots of research. And this looks terrific and is a great way to direct researchers, educators to things they can use right away. So you're getting a lot of good comments. Okay, we got a question in. Are you having to re-encode all the videos? What format will they be in?
Stephanie, would you care to take this one? So, okay, I'll take this one on then. Our videos, for those of you who have been familiar with the site for a long time, you may know that we used to have a great number of videos. More recently, we've had considerably fewer. We converted those, the videos that were shot by NGE staff members very early in the project's history have now been converted and should be made available on the new site. We'll also have the ability to embed video from YouTube, Vimeo, and so forth. And so when the new site launches, we should have maybe a couple dozen videos, short little clips interspersed in articles throughout the site, but we will have the capability to add more in the months and years ahead. And so that's something that I think we'd like to expand given the time and resources.
Okay, we've got another question. Will the citation generator be on the latest version since MLA has updated recently?
Oh, wow. Stephanie, I hear you?
Yeah, that's actually great to know. I'm not sure if we were tuned into that, but we can definitely put in that request and make sure it's on the latest version.
Okay, we don't have any more questions in the chat right now, but we can give it a second to see if anybody's typing one as we speak.
You can also use the raise your hand feature if you'd like to ask your question aloud, and then we can unmute you. All right, well, seeing no additional questions come in, as you see, oh, yeah, Mike, that is an obvious one.
We got one more, right? When is the site going live?
Oh, wow. That's a very important question, isn't it? And also one that is a little difficult to answer with some accuracy. It's something of a moving target. The site will definitely launch this fall, possibly as early as this August.
Thank you to that attendee for that question. So obvious, but now we know it'll be most likely sometime in the fall. See any additional questions? Yay, Mike. All right, well, seeing none, as you see right there on your slide, on your monitor, Ed and Stephanie's email addresses. If you do have questions for them, and then the form to tell them what you all think. Obviously, you can't click on the form from the computer screen there, but their slides will be available. They also put the link in chat. And please reach out to them if you have ideas or suggestions or things that you like about what they have done. I'm sure they would love to get the feedback. And so I want to thank Edward and Stephanie for giving us this sneak peek of their website. I actually really do like this redesign. I mean, I like the current site too, but I do like this redesign, and I think all of the new things will be really helpful for the public. So thank you all so much for showing us, and we'll go ahead and conclude there. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Joy.
Yep. Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure.